The CT2 machine basically is a coolant transfer system. The basic purpose of the machine is to flush the old antifreeze out of the engine while replacing it with new antifreeze. The machine is 75 to 85% efficient, depending on the vehicle that you're working with. The machine is very simple to use. It utilizes a 12-volt pump. 12-volt pump basically runs right off the vehicle's battery. We've got an adapter. The adapter we hook up to the upper radiator hose. Basically what we do is we take the upper radiator hose and we put one side of the radiator hose on this side, put the other side to the radiator, use the clamps on the vehicle, basically put the adapter right on the vehicle. After we get the vehicle hooked up to, or the adapter hooked up to the vehicle, basically what we do, we got a new and a used fluid hose, Basically we'll hook it up to our adapter. What we want to do is we want to put our new fluid hose pumping towards the back side of the thermostat of the vehicle. The purpose of doing that is basically to, as we turn the machine on, as we start pumping towards the back side of that thermostat, we're going to open that thermostat, causing the fluid, the antifreeze, to go through the engine, basically pushing the old fluid back to our machine. The goal we're trying to achieve by opening the thermostat backwards is we can do the flush without the vehicle actually running. That way we can do a flush on a cold engine. That keeps us from having problems with burning ourselves on hot radiator caps, opening the cooling system before it's had a chance to cool down. We've all seen it where it erupts and blows hot coolant all over the place. So that's the main goal there. It's a fairly simple machine. It's designed to be a one-person operation. It's fast and it's clean. There's a couple things I'd like to go over real fast with the machine that's a common issue with it. One thing, as you can see right on the front of the machine, it says do not run pump dry. The machine will fill and drain itself. One of the problems we run into is when a tech or a person drains it, what will happen is he'll walk away from the machine while it's draining. Well, when it runs out of old fluid that it's draining, it'll sit there and run dry. The pump in there has a rubber impeller. If it runs dry for 5 to 6 minutes, that rubber impeller gets so hot that the rubber impeller basically disintegrates. Then the machine's it's useless after that. So that's one thing we want to definitely illustrate is do not run the pump dry. Another thing, the machine does have a pressure regulator switch in there. It's regulated in between 28 and 32 pounds pressure. Then what happens is when we get hooked up to the vehicle through our adapter, we turn the machine on, and what happens if we got a problem where we're not getting the flow through the vehicle like we're wanting, what will happen is the pump will start clicking on and off. Well, most people at that point, they think that there's something wrong with the machine. There's not actually anything wrong with the machine. The machine's actually designed to click on and off like that. One of the reasons we do that is if the machine sits there and just deadheads, it's not doing anything, we're not accomplishing the service, nothing's happening, right? We're not accomplishing the service that we want. Now, if the machine starts clicking on and off, that tells the tech, hey, there's something wrong here. Also, the machine sitting there clicking on and off, it keeps the pump from deadheading. One of the problems is if the pump's sitting there deadheading, what it does is just overheats and just burns itself up. So instead of just sitting there, one, not accomplishing the service, and two, destroying our pump, we sit there and let it click on and off to let the technician know there's something wrong. Usual problems there is one, we've got the hoses hooked up backwards. Earlier we talked about putting the new fluid hose going towards the backside of the thermostat. The reason we want to go through the backside of the thermostat, that way we'll open it up. If we try to go the other way on the thermostat, it'll just push the thermostat closed and it won't open up, and it's going to get into a deadhead situation, start clicking on and off. That's the number one reason why we'd get into a deadhead situation. Another reason is pretty simple. We just don't get one of our quick connects on all the way. And it's just sitting there, just deadheading against itself. So that's pretty common. One of the things we try to illustrate or do with all of our machines, especially the CT2, is make it to where it be a one-person operation. We want We want it to be fast, we want it to be clean, and we want it to be simple. The CT2 basically has one ball valve on it. Basically the ball valve just turns to our new fluid or our used fluid side. Then we got one switch. Switch basically turns the pump going one direction or going the other direction, depending on where we're at in the service, what we're wanting to get done. To start the CT2 service, the first thing what we need to do is the machine's a 12 volt powered by 12 volts. We got to hook it up to a 12 volt power source. The machine has power leads coming out of the back of it. Most people just hook it up to the vehicle that they're doing the service on. Next thing what we want to do is we want to evacuate all the old fluid out of the overflow tank of the vehicle. I'm going to locate where the overflow tank is. Take our suction wand. We're going to identify our pump hose versus our return hose. They're labeled on the side of the machine. The pump hose is also identified by a piece of black shrink wrap. The pump hose is the hose we're going to use to extract all the old fluid out of the overflow tank. Since it's going to be used fluid, it's coming out of the overflow tank, we want to switch our machine to used fluid. I'm going to stick our suction wand into the overflow tank. We want to turn our switch to remove from vehicle. We want to remove all the fluid that we can get out of there. Back and turn our machine off. Next thing what we want to do is we want to remove enough antifreeze out of the radiator so that we can hook up our cross flow adapter to the upper radiator hose without making a mess. So the first thing we need to do, remove our radiator cap. Once again, take our suction wand, put it down in the radiator. Back to our machine and remove from vehicle. When I'm satisfied that I've removed enough antifreeze, turn the machine back off. I'm going to remove the upper radiator hose. Oh, man. Get my cross flow, my upper radiator hose cross flow adapter out of the machine. There are six different size adapters that comes with the machine. That'll fit most radiator hoses on most vehicles. We've established which one we need for this vehicle. Need to get us a clamp on there. Need to tighten our clamp. Put the other end on our radiator hose. Once again, tighten our clamp. And we've got our upper radiator hose cross flow adapter hooked to the vehicle. What we want to do this time, we want to make sure that our ball valve's open, because what we're going to do, we're going to put our flush into the radiator, start the vehicle, and allow the flush to do its job. I'm going to remove our suction wand. We're going to add our flush. We'll put the radiator cap back on. Once again, we want to make sure that our ball valves open on our upper radiator hose cross flow adapter, so when we start the vehicle, the coolant is allowed to circulate through the cross flow adapter. Next, we're going to start the vehicle. After the cleaner has had time to do its job, do its cleaning, we're going to shut the vehicle off. At this point, this is what makes the CT2 as nice a machine as it is, because we can go ahead and do the flush without having to have the vehicle running. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hook our service wands or our service hoses up to the vehicle. Our pump hose, we're going to want to go towards the back side of the thermostat. This is what's going to allow us to do the service with the thermostat. This is what's going to allow us to do the service with the engine turned off. We're going to push pressurized fluid to the back side of the thermostat, which is going to push the thermostat open, allowing the coolant to go through the cooling system, through the engine, back down through the radiator, back up through the radiator, back through our used hose, back through our return hose to the waste jug of the machine. Now to do this, we're going to have to make sure we got our ball valve turned off. If our ball valve is turned on, our new fluid just come right in here, right through our new fluid hose or pump hose, straight through our cross flow adapter, right back to the tank. We want to achieve the flush. So we want to make sure that that is turned off. It does not matter which side the ball valve is on. Next, we want to do the transfusion with the machine. In transfusion, new fluid. So we want to switch our ball valve to transfusion, and we want to switch our switch to transfusion. As we can see, the new fluid's coming in the new fluid hose, and the used fluid's coming out the pump hose. We know the service is complete by two ways. Either one, we've got a predetermined amount of fluid that we're going to run through the vehicle. When that amount of fluid is run through the vehicle, we're going to stop the service. Second, we can watch the two hoses, the new fluid hose and the used fluid hose, and when them two get to be the same color, we know we've done a good service. The service seems to be going fine. If the machine started clicking on and off or started acting funny, then we'd know that we've got something wrong. Either we're going the wrong direction against our thermostat, or we don't have a quick connect on right, or something of that nature. If the machine starts clicking on and off, that tells us that we've got a problem. If the machine does start clicking on and off, first thing we want to check is to make sure we're flowing the right direction through the cooling system. If we're going the right direction through the cooling system, then we want to make sure that we got all our quick connects on right. We're going to run a predetermined amount of fluid through this vehicle. We've also know we've done a good service because both our new and used fluid hoses have turned the same color. When we're satisfied the service is complete, we'll shut the machine off. go ahead and disconnect from the vehicle. And we're going to want to take our cross flow adapter off of the vehicle. Open my ball valve. What we want to do, we want to be able to take the cross flow adapter off without making a mess once again. So we're going to have to lower the level of the radiator, or the coolant. Going to have to lower the level of the coolant in the radiator. Once again, we're going to remove our radiator cap. We're going to take our pump hose, suction one once again, put it in our radiator. We're going to be pulling new coolant out because we've just put all new coolant into the vehicle. So we're going to leave our ball valve on new fluid. We go remove from vehicle. When we're satisfied we've got enough fluid out of the vehicle to remove the upper radiator hose cross flow adapter, we'll turn the machine off and we'll remove the cross flow adapter. Put our upper radiator hose back on. At this point, we're going to add our conditioner. It'll be our super cool. That was enough to top off our radiator. If it wasn't enough to top off our radiator, we'd just use our suction wand. And we basically just put it in there and just go return the vehicle till we were satisfied with the coolant level. I'm satisfied with the coolant level, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to fill our overflow tank up. Go to return the vehicle. Return that cap. And return the radiator cap. Remove all my connections from the machine. Remove my leads. I'm going to start the vehicle, make sure I don't have any leaks. The service is complete.